day. Welcome, welcome, one and all. I'm going to go ahead and invite our chime to sing, and then I'd like to set the intention for our practice today with a sentiment of loving kindness. This is our little sentiment, little hand-painted card. On the back it reads, "May your humility empower your heart, mind. May your humility empower your heart, mind." There are two key words in this sentiment of loving kindness that are perfectly applicable to the meditation and the Dharma that I'd like to share with you today. And those two words are humility and empower. I'd like to invite a gentle exploration of the mind and ask my mind, and I invite you to ask your mind, what arises when I think of myself as being humble or having to exercise humility? Do I feel powerful or empowered, or do I feel vulnerable? Maybe I feel both. And when I feel empowered by being humble, what does that feel like? Likewise, when I feel vulnerable and exposed in a posture of humility, what is that experience like? Can I begin to explore the pros and cons of each? Let's have that be the anchor of our practice today, because in the Spokane Sangha for the month of June in our Recovery Dharma practice, we've been exploring the Noble Eightfold Path, one of the foundations of a Buddhist practice. We've been exploring it from a traditional point of view and from a reimagined point of view. And we've only been exploring the first four. From a traditional point of view, those wisdom elements on the Noble Eightfold Path include wise intention, wise understanding, wise action, and wise speech. From a reimagined point of view, some additional language is to be curious, to be spacious, to be real, and to be patient. The context of all of this that I'd like to invite you to play with in your mind is the context of when somebody is offering concern, maybe even feedback, maybe even criticism. Specifically, let's say you have been engaging in habit energy and somebody approaches you with concerns about that behavior. I'm sure many of us have had the experience where somebody has confronted us about misconduct or questionable skillfulness, and given the approach dictates the level of defensiveness. But I would be willing to bet rarely is it the case when somebody is pointing out some kind of negativity or some kind of flaw or some kind of imperfection that we are in open arms to receive it. I know for myself, it's hard when somebody comes to me and says, Julia, I have a concern about this, that, or the other thing. I'm immediately armored. I'm not sure if I'm about to be humiliated, which doesn't feel empowering at all. In fact, people who are in a posture to humiliate are also in a posture to disempower. So I brace myself for it. However, over time and with practice, and by inviting humility as a posture of empowerment, I know who I am. I am real about my positive qualities and my negative qualities. I am well versed in my non-virtuous actions. So there is very little that someone on the outside of my own mind and heart that can say to me anything that will humiliate me more than I've already humiliated myself. And that enables me, that awareness enables me to soften and to recognize, wait a second, somebody is trying to bring my attention to something they see in me that is unskillful. Somebody cares about me. Somebody wants to support me and encourage me. Somebody is seeing the better side of me that I am corrupting with my own confusion and distorted thinking. That is the perspective that humility invites and allows. When I'm hidden behind a barrier, my armor of self-protection, fear of being found out, fear of being called out, fear of people seeing my misgivings because I'm operating under some delusion of perfection. I feel very threatened when somebody comes to me and says, hey, Julia, Julia, I'd like to talk to you about a concern I have. Hackles are up, shields up. I'm already defended. Being a member of a community means that we will likely feel compelled or have the desire to want to confront someone. Let's call it a care-frontation. And it's important to have a strong preface, a way of letting someone know, hey, I see you. I care how you are. Are you in a place to talk about something challenging? Do you have the capacity to listen to some questions I have? Are you in a place where you would be willing to hold some difficult feelings with me? And if you're on the receiving end of that, this is a call to humility. And it's also a call to trust. Because the person who is saying that to you, you may or may not trust. And if you don't trust that person, you are not going to be humble. I'm not. I have to trust the people with whom I'm going to practice humility. If I don't trust you, it's not going to happen. May your humility empower your heart and mind. Humility is a powerful virtue because it is insatiably curious, which means it's clear about its intentions. Humility's virtue is profoundly spacious and understanding. Humility's actions are about connection and the cultivation of trust. And it's okay with wise speech to tell someone, I don't know you well enough to trust you and have this conversation. Humility is a powerful virtue because it demands that we be real, that I be real about what's happening in my mind and in my heart. I have to be real about my capacity to be skillful and my capacity to be unskillful. I have to be real about the fact that just because I'm unskillful in this moment doesn't erase all the skill that I have cultivated. It's simply a moment of unskillfulness that I decide and determine to use as an opportunity for growth and maturity. I don't have to wither. That's actually not a posture of humility. It's a posture of apathy. Humility is a posture of strength and openness. To explore humility as a companion on this noble eightfold path is not an opportunity to trip you up and examine all the ways you have lacked humility, but rather to take that misguidance, to take those missteps in humility and lay down a stronger foundation, a more solid footing. Trust that you know your mind, you know your heart, you know your actions. You can Be real about who you are and where you're at. It is a practice, and we do so in community so that we can reflect to one another. We can truly learn to care for one another. Trust that we actually have each other's best interest in mind and in heart. I love the phrase, I care how you are. So let's take some time in silence and begin with ourselves. Come home to ourselves and allow that sentiment, I care how I am, settle in. And with a humble, friendly curiosity, let's allow anything concerning to come forward. And see if we can examine it with compassionate, kind care. May my humility empower my heart, mind. friends. I was first introduced to Buddhism by way of the teachings of Thich Nhat Hanh. And one of the things that I learned very early in my practice was that these practices, their lessons, the wisdom, it cannot be hurried and it cannot be forced. It has to simply be allowed. Lots of space. In Vietnam, where Thich Nhat Hanh was born and practiced for the first half of his life, he was surrounded by nature, beautiful flowers, and so he uses a lot of floral imagery in his work, particularly the lotus flower. And the lotus is a great teacher because it has many, many petals that slowly unfurl when they do. They begin in a tight bud, but they come from deep within water and the deep, mucky soil of ponds, and they rise from the water realm into the air realm. And slowly, slowly, these soft, beautiful petals open up and partner with the sun, with the fire element. And there they open up completely and reveal. And eventually, the petals fall away, and seeds to be shared, to be spread, are planted back into the water. In Soul Center, in the sanctuary, there's an orchid that one of our community members, Emily, gave to Soul Center, and I have been overjoyed by its wisdom because it has slowly, slowly grown an arm and then 8 little buds, and those buds have slowly opened up and flowered, revealing the most beautiful, magical blooms. Every day I have talked to these flowers and kissed these flowers and encouraged this plant, but I could not make it flower in my time. It flowers in its own. And so do we. Thich Nhat Hanh had a beautiful dedication that I'd like to share with you today as we end this meditation. Breathing in, a lotus or an orchid for you. Breathing out, a lotus or an orchid for me. Each of us, Buddhas to be. Let's go ahead and end our practice with a dedication. So much of the self-protection is because we've been humiliated, and that's no fun. So there is a risk. But the empowering part, again, is that no one has the power to humiliate me more than I have humiliated myself unless I give them that power. And it is no joke that we need to see these practices modeled in real life, in real time, in these contemporary interactions and circumstances. So may this practice encourage you to be brave. May you dare to take the risks and allow the lessons to strengthen you, not the opposite. Take time to notice the flowers. And we'll end again with that beautiful verse. And we'll change it up just a little bit. A flower for you. A flower for me. All of us Buddhas to be. Thank you, friends. Namaste.